I'll be considering a CASNET past examination, that is economics. And this paper was taken, okay, the title is CASNEB, CPA foundation level, Cifa foundation level. The paper is economics. And this paper was taken on Tuesday, 19th August 2025. It was in the afternoon. The paper is 3 hours. So first, what I want to do or consider is to look at question 1. We are told the first instruction is this paper has 7 questions. Answer any 5 questions, and all questions carry equal marks. Do not write anything on this paper. And so question 1 is explain 4 steps of the scientific method as applied in economic analysis. Now, before I set out to answer that question, I would want to take you to a tour. I want to take you to a site where you can get notes so easily, site where you can test your understanding of the concepts that are developed. It's a site where you will benefit much more as a student who would want to pass economics exam in the first trial. So I'll first take you through a tour, and this is the what you do is simply type. I would take you here, and then you simply type. We go to Datalytics Academy. Yes, that takes you to the homepage of Datalytics Academy. And so probably this should be the latest. This should be the latest analysis that we carried out. So once you have your membership, you'll enjoy much more information in terms of analysis of real data as they are in the line of economics, finance, and various other fields. So once you get here, what I'd wanted to demonstrate is that you find courses. You'd want to click courses. After clicking courses, you'll find our courses. We got several courses. We have CPA economics, that is CASNEB. It is one where you self-study. The syllabus is well guided as per the CASNEB, where we have assignments offered as well. We have past papers. You can also access curated answers to past examination. So all it takes is for you to visit the site, and once you come here, you'd be able to log in, and you get to this page. Once you are on this page, the reason why we are saying free, because it's a membership. It's a membership. I require membership. I'm not really selling the course, but I require membership for you to access this. So you'll be required to register or have a membership of about $5 per month, and that allows you to access full contents or full services that are available here. So that's just that. And it would help you, it would help you to self-learn so that you prepare for your exam at your own pace, of course, bearing in mind the time period that is given. So that is that. I want to minimize it. That was not the main reason why I did this video. So first, that's the question. And so I will set out to give the response. And so question 1, that's what we have. We had question 1 as such, and probably I should bring just a moment. Yeah. So the first question, as we had seen, we saw that the first question is that of just a minute. I want to take you to the question. We had seen that the first question that we want to answer is explain 4 steps of the scientific method as applied in economic analysis. Explain 4 steps of the scientific method as applied in economic analysis. That's the question we want to answer. And so I set out to provide the solution as such. Yes. Now, this is what we have. So first, I encourage you to visit this site here. Encourage you to visit this particular site. That is datalyticsacademy.com. Herein, you'll find a lot of assistance. The first, the heading here is CPA foundation level. So this paper is taken by certified public accountants. It's a foundational level, and it's also taken by Cifa, that is this financial analysts, certified investment and financial analysts. It's economic paper that is jointly taken by those taking economics exam in those various professions. So next, I set out to start answering the question. The first one is observation and identification of the problem. So scientifically, these are the general steps that any find out mission has to go through. First, you observe and then identify the problem. So economists, they begin by observing real world economic events and identifying a specific issue that needs to be studied. For example, it may be rising unemployment. It may also be increasing food prices that is detected already, or low agricultural productivity. Other times it can be currency depreciation. So having observed such a trend, there may be need to set out to carry out a study to understand the dynamics behind, say, the depreciation of the currency, low agricultural productivity, increasing food prices, or rising unemployment. The purpose of which is to clearly define what economic phenomenon requires explanation or further assessment to fully understand the problem and present or suggest possible results. The second one is formulation of a hypothesis. A hypothesis is a logical, testable statement that attempts to explain the observed problem. In economics, it proposes a relationship between variables. For example, it may be one where we are assessing an increase in interest rates, how an increase in interest rates reduce consumer borrowing, for instance, or how higher taxes reduce disposable income and household consumption. Now, again, in such a case, the purpose is to provide a guiding idea that can be tested empirically. Empirically, I mean using data. Then the third one, because we were asked to explain 4. So the third one is data collection and testing the hypothesis. Because you had specified your hypothesis, now you set out to collect the data, and then using the data, you test your hypothesis. In testing your hypothesis, you will be having a null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis, between which you'll have to settle on one. And so it's we call it empirical because you first formulate an hypothesis, then go to the field to collect the data, perform an analysis based on the hypothesis, then based on the data, decide whether your hypothesis holds true or not, and that you decide by assessing how much the strength of the null and alternative hypothesis in relation to the data. So economists gather relevant data either from surveys, they carry out surveys, or through government statistics. We have Kenya National Bureau of Statistics that collects data throughout. We also have Central Bank of Kenya. When we are talking about indicators, basically those are the sources of such data. Market data generated daily now in this age of technology and smart gadgets. Market data are generated every other second in millions and billions. And then we can also perform experiments. We are saying this is rare in economics. In economics, rarely will you have experiments in a laboratory to confirm or, or not confirm a theory, or to develop a theory, whichever case. Now, they then use economic models, graphs, and statistical tools to test whether the data supports or rejects the hypothesis. Example, using regression analysis to check whether higher interest rates actually reduce borrowing. This is to determine if the hypothesis is consistent with real world evidence. The last one here, we look at conclusion, evaluation, and theory development. After testing, economists draw conclusions. If data supports the hypothesis, it becomes part of economic theory. If data does not support it, the hypothesis is rejected or modified. Economists also evaluate the reliability of data. They also evaluate reliability of data, and to some extent the reliability of the model, because you may be using a model that does not take care of all the explanatory variables. It does not, a model that does not account for a significant portion of the variation in the data. So whether the findings can predict future outcomes, basically that's that's about the validity of the model. So the purpose in which case is to build or refine economic theories and inform economic policy decisions. So that is that as for part A. Part A required us to answer that. Now, part B required us to state government strategies to counter climate change effects on agriculture. We were to state government strategies to counter climate change effects on agriculture. So one we are saying is promotion of drought resistant and early maturing crop varieties. So you say the government can fund research and distribute seeds that tolerate drought, heat, and regular rainfall. This helps farmers maintain yields despite harsh conditions. And we know the existence of KEFI. There are several such bodies that have dedicated their time in delivering this first item. Now, second is expansion of irrigation infrastructure. Now, developing dams, boreholes, canals, and drip irrigation schemes reduces dependence on unreliable rainfall and ensures continuous water supply to crops. Then the third strategy that the government may bring on board to counter climate change effects on agriculture is soil and water conservation measures. Now, strategies such as terracing, mulching, agroforestry, water harvesting, and conservation tillage help retain soil moisture, reduce erosion, and maintain soil fertility. I think recently we witnessed some unfortunate events in terms of landslides in certain parts of the Rift Valley, and such are the ones that are harmful to realizing sustainable agricultural productivity in an economy. It may be negligible, but it has a contribution because it basically alters the soil makeup and fertility, and even how strong it holds on to support such kind of activities. Now, fourth one is strengthening weather forecasting and early warning systems. Strengthening weather forecasting and early warning systems. Now, providing accurate, timely climate information enables farmers to plan planting, harvesting, and input use according to expected conditions, thereby reducing risks. And we know that there are sites that are dedicated to providing real-time weather data. Now, such should be tapped by scientists in those sites in meteorology to help and assist, make use of such free resources to avail the right information to people, so that they plan their daily agricultural activity and expectations. Fifth is subsidies and financial support to farmers. Offering crop insurance, input subsidies, credit facilities, and compensation during extreme weather events helps farmers recover and adapt to climate shocks. So again here, recently we have seen a number of microfinancial institutions coming up with products that are geared towards offering crop or livestock insurance to farmers. Again, this should help cushion farmers from adverse climatic effects that are brought about by climatic change. Sixth is reforestation and environmental protection policies. Planting trees, protecting water catchments, and regulating deforestation improve rainfall patterns. It also reduces flooding and stabilizes ecosystems, which are crucial for farming. We have seen situations where we know that for the economy to grow, we first need to have to put the foundations in place. That is the infrastructure that goes with it. And mostly the infrastructure will come with a lot of building where for some reasons, to accomplish such kind of tasks, we have to cultivate massive places or areas that would have otherwise been covered by green vegetation. But so far we see that nobody has been keen to ensure that once such activities are done, then replanting of trees on such areas is insisted on. So and we see immediately the effects of this if you walk across the country and across the counties as we see it, where such mining of resources of, say, sand, maram is going on. You'll find that mostly after such activities are done, no proper care is taken to kind of recarpet that place and give it the green vegetation that takes care of it. So again, that is an area where those in charge of environment, those in charge of protecting our environment should really not compromise. Now, next, we are asked the meaning of central bank. A central bank is the main financial institution of a country responsible for issuing currency, regulating the financial system, and implementing monetary policy on behalf of the government. It oversees commercial banks and ensures economic and financial stability. So basically, that's what a central bank is. The responsibilities that I've mentioned: one, that of issuing currency, regulating the financial system, and implementing monetary policy on behalf of the government. So that's basically, those are the core functions. Then it oversees commercial banks and ensures economic and financial stability. Then we go to we were asked to provide 4 secondary functions of a central bank. Secondary functions are not primary functions. So secondary functions: 1, banker to commercial banks. It holds accounts for commercial banks. It clears their checks and provides loans to them. So that is the first function of a commercial bank in any country. 2, it is a banker. It's a financial advisor, and it's an agent to the government. So it manages government accounts, advises on financial matters, and facilitates public debt operations. 3, it is the custodian of foreign exchange reserves. It holds and manages a country's foreign currency reserves and stabilizes the exchange rate. So this is done in line with the policies that the political and economic environment present. So largely it is a function of the central bank but we know central bank cannot, economic environment is not likely to exist in isolation of the political environment. Next, it is the control of credit. It influences the level of credit in the economy through tools like interest rates and market operations. For instance, interest rates, when interest rates are high, then definitely we expect uh, we expect uh, we expect less not many people to come for loans or to come for credits. But when interest rates are low, you'd expect many people to attempt to access such kind of facilities. Then we have 4 limitations of the production possibility frontier. Now, first of all, there may be need to define what that is, production possibility frontier. And what I would say is that a production possibility frontier curve shows the maximum, or it attempts to show the maximum possible combinations of two goods that an economy can produce using all available resources efficiently. So basically, that's what a PPF. What a PPF is. I'll show the diagram towards the end, but first let me concern myself with answering the question as it was asked. 4 limitations of the production possibility frontier, and you'll see how we derive those ones. You'll see how we derive those limitations. So 1, it assumes only 2 goods, because the PPF simplifies reality by analyzing the production of only 2 goods. Yet real economies produce thousands of goods and services. So basically, the PPF curve, as the name suggests, it operates on a 2-dimensional plane, the X and the Y axis. That only gives you an opportunity to interact with 2 goods at a particular time. So that becomes its limitation, because in real world, thousands and many goods and services interact at a go. 2, it assumes fixed resources and technology. The model assumes that resources and technology remain constant, which is unrealistic since both change over time. So we want a model that is dynamic, that is able to sense and incorporate the changes in resources, the changing resources and changing technology, in which case the PPF does not take that into account. Third, it does not show distribution of output. It shows what an economy can produce, but not who receives or benefits from the goods produced. Then it does not account for unemployment or underutilization. The PPF assumes full and efficient use of resources. In real economies, unemployment and idle resources often exist. So that's another limitation that we're looking at. So let's look at this PPF curve and see why it has got such kind of limitations. So this is the production possibility frontier curve. And here you see, so the curve is production possibility frontier curve is this line here. That is the curve that we are referring to. And you see that here we have product A, in which case we are calling it wine. Product A is wine. Then product A is apples. So we want to consider the interaction or possible combination of those 2 products that can be produced. So we see that at point A, we are saying the production is efficient. Why? We say it is now we see along the curve we see efficient production. Along the curve we see efficient production. Along the curve, this particular curve, we see efficient production, because we see at point A the economy is better doing this much of wine, this much of wine, and this much of apples. At point B, the economy is comfortable doing that much of wine and this much of apples. And at point C, the economy is again pretty comfortable doing that much of wine and this much of apples. But then we see that anywhere outside is inefficient because that combination, and the reason we say it assumes full or optimal engagement of resources is we see that if it settles us at A, then we consider that an area of combination that is perfect, optimal, beyond which the factors, beyond which the costs, or negativities may start coming in. So that is that. Here we are saying it's impossible because this is outside the curve. So point F we are saying is impossible. Point D we are saying is impossible. Now let me say something. Efficient points are on the curve A, B, and C. So these points represent full and efficient use of resources. These points here, A, B, C. The economy is operating at its productive capacity if you pick any point along this line. Now, producing more of one good requires producing less of the other. So the element of opportunity cost here is also brought up, because if you decide to produce more wine, then definitely you are going to produce, if you want to produce more wine, you'll have to go up the ladder, and it means you are going to produce less apples. If you want to produce more apples, then definitely you are going to produce less wine. So moving from A to C increases apple production. Moving from A to C increases apple production, but reduces wine production. Next, inefficient points inside the curve, that is point D. We see that point D lies inside the PPF. The PPF is defined by this. So point D lies inside the PPF. So this means that the economy is underutilizing its resources. If we had to pick this, then it would mean that the economy is underutilizing its resources, because full utilization is expected anywhere along this curve. Now, there may be also, it may also imply that there may be unemployment or idle machines, low productivity or inefficiency if we pick point D. It is also possible to increase output of both goods without sacrificing anything. So what we are saying, it is possible to increase output of both goods without sacrificing anything. Now, how would that be? How would that be achieved? Then perhaps on a shallow way of looking at it, one may introduce in imagination or in mind the aspect of shifting. But we are not going to that as of yet. So impossible, I want to look at what probably is here. So this is outside the PPF. That's why we're saying it's impossible, because we don't have resources to possibly give us outputs that are found here. Of course, here we have resources, except we are underutilizing them. But here, our resources cannot stretch beyond what is available, beyond that which defines optimal level on points A, B, and C. So the economy cannot produce this combination with its current resources and technology, and achieving point F would require economic growth. It would require better technology. It would require more labor or capital, or improved productivity. In other words, it would shift the PPF outward. So the shift that I'm referring to here is where now we have a shift, yes, a shift, so that we define something like we define a new curve. Now I'm using freehand and I'm not as accurate, but you see, I want a curve that is kind of parallel to this. Parallel to mean that the distance between this line and that line should remain the same. So if we had a line, a curve that behaves so, if we had a curve that behaves so, just a minute, eraser. If we had a curve that behaves so, then that is the curve that would give us more productivity without sacrificing anything. Let's see. No. I may not be able to draw it using freehand, so let me just drop the idea. But at least you have seen that what I intended to sketch. So that's that. Then let's see, why is the shape of the PPF, this one, concave? Why is it concave? It is concave because opportunity cost increases as more of one good is produced. As more of one good is produced, opportunity cost increases. Remember that opportunity cost is defined as the cost of the foregone next best alternative. And then, so again, this concave shape may also mean that resources are not equally efficient in producing both goods. Resources are not equally efficient in producing both goods. So basically what this PPF curve shows, it reveals something about some of the defining concepts of economics. That is one, scarcity, choice, opportunity cost. And opportunity cost, it also blends in the aspects of efficiency, because we are only picking on only from the points on the line. It also brings in the aspect of economic growth. What would it require for us to have economic growth? We see that we may all of a sudden we may need to bring in the aspect of shifting. And I'm thinking, since this is a Cartesian plane, one of the limitations of a PPF curve is that it considers only two commodities. But now I know that we have got, apart from the Euclidean space, the Cartesian plane that we are used to, we can also consider other spaces that allow us to consider various higher dimensionalities. And now these higher dimensions, you'll find some of them coming in as you consider advanced economic classes, and where we may not, because consider the possibility of representing a PPF curve not only on a 2-dimension but now on a 3-dimension, where we now bring in the another product and then try to see the combination with the current technology that is done. And in our next class, possibly for more advanced classes, I'll have an opportunity to explore such. So up to there, I say thank you. And if you want to visit the site that I just showed you, the page where we have CP Economics for your preparation, then you can visit this link. Up to this end, I say thank you, and we catch up in my next lesson.